final frontier. Welcome to Updated Autopsy Report, a podcast from Yotsuben and Friends, where we replay the entire Ace Attorney series with longtime fans and newcomers. I'm your host, Ben, and with me today is Dessy.
Hello.
And two good friends of ours, Tiago.
Yo.
And Rose.
Hi.
Dessy and I are the longtime fans, but this time, Dessy is joining the newcomers with Rose and Tiago, so that we hope that through both of our perspectives as we play through the series, it'll reveal new details and provide interesting commentary for a series that's near and dear to us. Today, we've all played Case 4 of Ace Attorney Dual Destinies, The Cosmic Turnabout. So I guess your guys' guesses for Apollo's best friend were a little off the mark this time.
We had the spirit.
We probably should have read literally any words that
the only words that were available to us was cosmic. Okay, I should have known. I should have known better. What do you mean? We only had the word cosmic. Rose, we're blameless.
I mean, I was gonna guess astronomer, and I was wrong. I would have still been wrong, but I would have been way closer.
Yeah, you
Rose,
would have been significantly closer.
We literally, at the end of the podcast, shouted at each other, astronomer.
So I think but we still would have been wrong. But I should have been closer. I forgot how to read.
It's fine. So, for the summary today, Case 4, pre-bombing of the courtroom in Case 1, Apollo takes on the case of another bombing at Gyaxa, a space program that's launching rockets into space. The victim is an astronaut, Clay Terran, Apollo's best friend from middle school, and the defendant is fellow astronaut Solomon Starbuck, Terran's mentor. We begin with a court segment right out of the gate defending Starbuck until the bomb goes off, as seen at the start of Case 1. Ted Tonate gets arrested, Apollo recuperates in the hospital, as we all saw previously. Mm-hmm. Then, picking up Solomon's case, Phoenix and Athena begin investigating the Gyaxa Space Center. The two meet Yuri Cosmos, the director of the facility, and an incredibly helpful Detective Fulbright, as well as Aura Blackwell, a robotics engineer and witness. Don't worry about her last name. Fulbright also reveals that Simon has been hunting a phantom killer all these years due to an incident at this very space center 7 years ago that got him convicted. After gathering their new evidence, Phoenix and Athena return to court and begin breaking down Yuri Cosmos' testimony to figure out what exactly happened with these rockets and doors. After proving the launchpad and launchpad replica gift shop were swapped and that the real killer was a third person with a lighter, Phoenix and Athena celebrate at getting Starbuck acquitted without finding the real killer. Wow, this is the first time this has ever worked correctly. Blackwell insists, however, that something is wrong with this trial, and asks Fulbright to give him the fingerprint analysis from the lighter. But the prints belong to none other than Athena Sykes. Gasp.
Gasp, I say.
Wow, hey guys, do you think this evidence is fabricated? In the dark age of the law, do you think that this evidence might be fabricated? I think Bobby's innocent. He didn't know. Someone left it there for him to find.
There's two possible. Here's my brain blast that I had while I was walking my dog. I think that this is a lighter that was from the event 7 years ago, and these are Athena Sykes' fingerprints on it, but they've been preserved.
You mean when Simon got convicted for killing her parents?
When Simon got convicted for probably killing her parents 7 years ago. I think this is a lighter that she was holding on, because the whole subplot that's been sort of happening here while we've been investigating the Galaxy Center is that Athena knows a little too much about it. Also, the robot faces are the same faces of Widget on her fucking neck.
Uh-huh.
Are you telling me she ain't fucking related to the Galaxy Center? It's baloney.
She loves talking about space. She knows a lot about it. And she keeps making lots of space jokes, too, right?
Yeah, so,
everyone's making space jokes, let's be fair.
That's
so
true.
many space jokes, so many references.
Yeah. So I just want to, refresh the timelines just so we understand. The timeline has so far been case 2, then case 3, then a little bit of this case, but in the middle of it, we also have to go back to case 1 because, you know, the first half of case 4 that we are currently on takes place around case 1.
Right. It's like brackets around case 1.
So like the first half of case 4 is around case 1, and then the second half of case 4 is around case 1.
Yeah.
And now it's future from here on out, baby. It's the timeline is correct. We don't have to go back in time. Fuck you for making me do that.
Except we
never
probably
have to
will,
go
right?
back in time ever again. There's definitely never ever a case.
There's never ever going to be
never
a case.
going to ever be a case that goes backwards in time.
No
out of
way.
order ever again.
I
It'll be
expect
fun.
literally the next case will be back in time.
Absolutely. We are
We
solving
gotta solve that 7 years ago mystery.
happening.
So like Apollo, very sad because his best friend Clay Terran, who he talks to all the time,
Never heard of before.
they're best buds. They used to visit the Galaxy Center. I don't know the actual
They just
name.
think that like Apollo wasn't that popular or something, that they could just slide that in there and no one would say anything.
I mean, that's just an Ace Attorney thing in general, is adding
Yeah.
in surprise backstory to a character.
Yeah, we thought of this idea, but oh no, it's too late. We already published something else.
Like, remember, Phoenix Wright gets an entire backstory about how he was once an art student, right, in college and fell in love with a demon. And then we just, like, he conveniently never mentioned that until
to be
it comes
fair,
up in case 3, right?
They squeaked that in for me by having him, like, savagely critique every painting he locates in every single game. Which
That's actually really funny.
That's true.
There is a part where you're playing as Phoenix in this case, and you see something that, and he critiques a landscape painting again. I love it. I love him.
Yeah,
it's good to be back.
it's a good little subplot.
So like the thing about, because we can't forget that this game is now going to take place in the Apollo Justice trilogy. And we gotta remember that. This is a story about
The fact
Apollo.
that they're still calling this Apollo Justice Trilogy
really
does psychic damage to me every time.
To be fair,
yeah,
that Apollo Justice Trilogy label is retroactively being applied to these games, right?
Yes.
They were calling it that at the time.
That re-release, they are calling it that now. But at the time, they were just saying, hey, it's a new Ace Attorney game, right?
Yeah.
And all your favorite characters are coming back. Apollo, Phoenix, and a new one, Athena, right? That was how they marketed it.
Yeah.
They didn't say this is the continuation of Apollo Justice's story, which, critique that how you will, right?
But it low-key is a continuation of Apollo Justice's story. It's just that it also features the perspectives of both Phoenix Wright and
everybody
Athena Sykes.
except for Apollo.
Yeah, well, listen, I think, you can have stories a bit like that, right? Where the protagonist is someone who is spoken about rather than featured in the story.
Yeah.
So, I think that's interesting.
I do think, though, that it's not a surprise.
If we would stop, just yanking the rug from underneath Apollo, that would be great.
I mean, it's like, I think it's not necessarily a surprise that, to say that, we're going to deal with Athena's backstory next case, right? She's been having these, flashbacks and
but she is the new character.
Panic attacks, right? So we got to set up all of her stuff.
Yeah.
But yes, we get to play as Apollo. Let's see here. 1, 2 and a half cases, right? In this game.
Damn, good point.
And then we play as Phoenix and Athena in the first case. And then, I'm actually counting wrong because the school case was Athena as the main attorney, and Apollo was along for the ride.
Oh, sad, they pulled the rug out from under him again. What the fuck?
So
that's number one Apollo fan upset about this.
I'm so mad.
I really quite like him as well. I'm a bit disappointed.
I think that it's unfortunate because we have to deal with the fact that this is a game that no matter what, Phoenix Wright is the main character. Even in Apollo's own game, which is kind of wild, but I feel like we're going a little too far in one direction. So the case, right? the space case, the Gyaxa Center, which is an awful name.
Case.
Uh-huh.
I hate that name.
You know why it's called that?
No, tell us.
Because it's a pun. It's a pun on Gyakuten Saiban. Gyaksa. It stays unchanged from the Japanese version of the name.
I see. Okay.
So it is.
This world is court built.
Yeah, that's all. That's all they're doing there, right? So it's just making a pun on the title of the game series, but it's not as clear to English players because not everybody knows that the original series is called Gyakuten Saiban. But yes, that's where it's coming from.
Do you think that you could have localized it into English? Could you think of as an astronomy word that sounds like attorney?
That's really tough off the top of my head. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm putting an impossible task to the group, and I expect to see results.
Okay.
So
we can probably really quickly go over the early bit of the case, right? Because that's kind of the shortest segment is Apollo in court defending Solomon.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, Apollo already has the bandage over his eye. And it's established that was not from the bombing. He just had a sty or something.
That's what he says he has.
Yeah. I straight up don't fucking believe it.
I don't
something
believe
happened
it.
with his eye, and he's just like, "Oh, I'm going to bandage that up," and he's like, "Don't ask me about it."
I think his eyes are twitching. As somebody who has a problem with that,
I think what he's doing is he's closing one eye so he can use the other one for his full powered psycho eye attack. He's okay.
His literal third eye opens.
I think literally what's going to happen is that
no one in the whole entire courtroom is fucking safe from him.
He's gonna optic blast Simon Blackwell in the middle of court.
I think that would be hilarious.
Because apparently Simon can just whip out an imaginary sword with his spiritual energy.
Simon, at this point, why? I like how everyone gets progressively less shocked every time Simon breaks his shackles. But it's why are we still letting him do this? Come on.
You know who isn't less shocked?
Simon.
Because
he's being electrocuted.
Yeah. Oh, Bobby, you would be the perfect character if you weren't engaging in police brutality and torture.
He's part of the system.
Yeah, so, he is.
The only person we interview in the first section with Apollo is our client Solomon Starbuck, who goes on to say, "I was incapacitated because of my anti-anxiety meds,"
which he may not even have taken.
I think he was slipped the drugs,
yeah.
But also as someone who does take them, I'm not disoriented. Do they disorient?
There are some that are PRN as needed,
yeah,
take
or
them and they're just they're just a sedative.
Yeah, don't operate heavy machinery.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't take that if you're gonna launch into space.
Yeah, which is what
that's what he says. Yeah, he's like, I wouldn't have taken that, if I had, because I was going into space. But yeah, it definitely seems like somebody slipped it to him. And just did that to essentially knock him out, make him woozy so that he doesn't know what's going on.
Something important to note is that while Apollo is doing this case, he's very pissed because his best friend Clay Taryn was the victim, and he's mad and he's angry.
Clay also looks like he's from a different anime, if I'm being honest.
He looks like a fucking space battleship Yamato character.
Yeah.
That's
he looks like he does have a Digimon.
Yeah.
He literally looks like he's partners with Gabumon. And I don't know why he looks like he has the Jotaro hair thing where he has a cap but his hair is coming out the back.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's just a visor, right? He's just got a visor clipped on. It's really funny every time they show the picture of him and Apollo with their arms wrapped around each other like a best friends picture.
Yeah.
And it fades in slowly and it's I just remember him. Clay Taryn, we were the best of buds.
This
and
is
that's
the
where
only photo we have together.
It's also where he gets the "I'm fine" catchphrase from, apparently.
So yeah, when they were sad little boys, Clayton was like, "I lost my mom," and Paula Justice is like, "I never knew my mom." Audience, we know his mom. And then he's like, "All right, Clay, try shouting this. I'm fine." And then Clay shouts, "I'm fine." And then Apollo shouts, "You're fine." And then they just keep shouting that over and over because they're friends now. All right, they're gonna be there through thick and thin. Apparently, in high school, they used to always visit the Yaksa Center and say hello to all the people there, including Solomon Starbuck, the astronaut from the Hat 1 incident where he miraculously survived like a fucking like a re-entry failure.
Right.
That's important because they won't shut the fuck up about it. Except when they do shut the fuck up about it. And that's great.
Gotta say, I don't care for this guy. I don't care for any of these people.
Oh, you don't like Solomon?
No.
What's wrong with Solomon?
I want him to stop pretending he's in space.
Dude, he's suffering from oxygen deprivation.
I need him to stop pretending he's in space.
So like,
I think his liftoff animation's really funny though.
His liftoff animation's really good.
And then he does
Swimming
the whole like
up into the
woe is me bit, and I'm just like, he's so unhelpful. Like
his sigh does get pretty annoying.
Yeah.
But also I do like the fact that it's a very Shu Takumi style bit in which the sigh starts infecting other people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like Simon Blackwell at one point like sighs really heavily and they're like, did he just sigh exactly like Solomon?
So like he does the sighing bit because it's supposed to be like an astronaut in space, just like, you know.
That doesn't excuse him.
No, that's what, you know, like because when you're in space and they have like astronaut footage, they have like the really heavy sighing. That's my interpretation of that. Do you have a different interpretation?
No, I just didn't understand.
Oh, okay. I'm glad we got that resolved. So yes, Solomon Starbuck, he survived the Hat 1 incident. He has fear of space, but he also is like, despite my fear of space, I want to go to space so badly. Why the fuck would I kill my apprentice and friend Clay Terran?
It's so
Right.
everyone should be afraid of space. You should be so afraid of space. This is so reasonable.
But people are saying, oh yeah, we didn't talk about, there's a fucking bombing incident at the fucking Gyaxa Space Center, and Solomon Starbuck is accused of both the bombings, both in the main Space Center and the launch pad, and the murder of Clay Terran. So not only is he a killer, he's a bomber, which sucks.
Right.
This is relevant because they have a funny little case in the room, and then they go, what's that? And they go, there's a live bomb in there. And then it's like, really? It's like, no, it's dead. And then Ted Dene comes out, and he's like, no, it's live, actually. We should get out of here.
Because they're like, okay, we're gonna call
Candace
what's her
Arm.
name? Yeah, we're gonna call Candace to the stand, which is why he has two. Which I thought was a nice little throwback of like, why did he activate the bomb in the trial? I don't remember. He probably told me and I didn't remember. But it's like, oh yeah, because he called Candace, she was already dead. So he had to do something. He killed Candace because, I mean, I can't believe there was another bombing subplot during the bombing plot. That's just really unfortunate. So yeah. The courtroom gets bombed. Juniper Woods is there to cheer on her favorite crush, Apollo. Apollo saves her life and then gets bombed. And he survives. He's good. Yeah. But then while he's in the hospital, Phoenix and Athena go, oh shit, we should probably pick up the slack, huh?
We should probably defend Starbuck, I guess, rather than leave him hanging.
His case
still goes.
So then begins the investigation phase, and this is lengthy because we gotta pick up a lot of fucking clues. We talked to Solomon.
There's a lot of evidence that pops up here in this segment.
We gotta talk to Solomon because my man was pilled during the fucking event, and he is unconscious, but you might remember some stuff. And also,
he was actually pilled.
He was actually pilled.
Anti-anxiety pilled.
And also, we gotta make sure he doesn't accidentally fucking confess to this, because Simon Blackwell is using his power of manipulation on him. Manipulation being, oh, you can see your window through your jail cell, and Solomon goes, really? And
really?
Fucking almost confesses.
He's so... This game thinks that psychology is so many things that it's not, and it's kind of hilarious.
It is.
Sometimes it's
honestly,
a mini game.
there's a line where Athena says, "That's the power of analytical psychology." And I like way that she said that like it was a jutsu.
Miss, I just played your WarioWare minigame. Like, that's all I did. I actually,
Yeah.
I had no real problem with like any of the like evidence and stuff in this case. Like everything was significantly more obvious than it's been to me.
Yes.
But I was struggling with the emotions thing because now that we know that no emotions can be, I think Tiago mentioned this earlier.
Yes.
Like that no emotions can be a thing to call out. I'm second guessing literally every single like slide. I'm like, what? How am I supposed to know?
We're supposed to interpret what they're saying and realize like that doesn't match up with how they feel.
Well,
Regardless,
yeah, but like, you know,
yeah, it's tough, man.
it doesn't. It's not the best logic puzzle this game has had. Unlike the Cyclocks, which are back because we're Phoenix.
Yeah.
Phoenix, right? So we meet Bobby Blackwell in like the Launchpad corridor because a large part of this case is like,
oh, they're married already. Damn.
You
Wait,
said
are
Bobby
they?
Blackwell instead of Bobby Fulbright.
Shit, my ship. No, wait. All right, no, let me. Give me a second.
Bob Fulbright. Bobbert Fulbright.
Bobbert Fulbright. We see him in the Launchpad corridor because a large part of this case is how they escaped the Launchpad. Where was the killing taking place? How did they carry an unconscious body? A lot of like technical stuff that would place our client near the body or not near the body, depending whether or not he's guilty. Bobby, he's there. He's got evidence, and he says, "Hey, Phoenix and Athena, we're on first name basis now. I think that I will support you in your endeavor." And Phoenix is right. All right, this is fucking suspicious. No cop would ever help me of their own free will.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then he uses his soul read attack, and he whips out the Magatama. He just whips it out in the galaxy center and goes...
Yeah, in front of Bobby. And Bobby's even like, what the heck's that? And he's like, oh, it's a magical orb that lets me see when people are lying.
And Bobby like,
then goes
funny,
on to say...
haha.
Bobby says the funniest line, which is, "Did you just get ripped off by like a scam artist? I can get you in contact with somebody you know." And then Phoenix is like, "No, check this out." And then he fucking breaks his psyche locks, and Bobby's like, no, how'd you know? And Phoenix Wright goes, "I have literally magic. I am magic. Fuck you."
Yeah.
That's
he
true.
Didn't say
He
that,
says that.
Never mind. He did say that. He did say that verbatim.
Yeah.
So we find out Bobby's motivations is that he's been feeling internal conflict because his boyfriend, Simon Blackwell, is like, "I'm going to get Solomon the Starbuck prosecuted because it's in relation to a case 7 years ago." We can only assume that was Blackwell's case where he was accused of murder and found guilty. And he's been chasing a phantom.
Yeah. And he seems to know that, like, it's probably not Solomon. It's somebody else, but he's just going to convict him anyways because he doesn't like him.
He's going to convict literally every person in relation to the Phantom. He does not care who it is.
And we start using specifically this term, the Phantom.
Yes.
Like, as if it's like a specific entity, somebody who did this.
It is the Phantom of the Phantom of the Court. That'd be really cool if there was like a prosecutor who was like a Phantom of the Court. Like he shows up masked, and I guess that was kind of like the Darrow, right?
I mean, Phantom of the Opera would be sick, but in court, I love that.
That's actually a sick idea, is that like your prosecutor is like this dude who just swoops in, prosecutes, finds him illegal, and then leaves.
I mean, if you like a prosecutor with a mask, we have had that before.
We literally had Godot. Yeah, he was
Don't
literally
bring up that coffee bringing bitch.
Okay.
And who knows, we might have more prosecutors with masks in the future. You
My
never
coffee
know.
is cold, dear listeners. It's so sad.
So Bobby gives us as much evidence as possible because he says, "I only in pursuit of the justice, and that's how I'll help you." And Phoenix goes, "Oh, okay, thanks, man," and then pats him on the shoulder.
And he says like, "Oh, I promise to make it so Blackwell could be a member of society again." And I'm like, "Oh, that's cute. Stop electrocuting him."
Listen, never mind. Whenever I think about Bobby and Blackwell together, I think different, so I'm gonna move on.
Okay. I'm for it. I just think that he shouldn't electrocute him.
No, I'm saying that I'm thinking thoughts that I would never say out loud, so we gotta keep going. I can't.
So we go to
we go to, yeah, go ahead.
we go to the lobby. There's a couple rooms that basically that we have to investigate. One is the Launchpad 1 corridor, which is where Fulbright is. There's also the boarding lounge, which is kind of where most of your evidence is picked up, and also where Athena does most of her space jokes. And she also does her 3 muscadors joke about the 3 doors in this room.
That's actually, I think, the worst joke to occur.
Okay. And then you also go to the gift shop, which, as it happens, is Launchpad 2, but has been turned into a gift shop. It's a replica of Launchpad 1, so that visitors can get up close and see the rocket and all that cool stuff. But it is a replica of Launchpad 1. That might be important later.
Yeah, it is actually really important because this whole case is based around locations and possibly where do they go? Where do they come from? Who knows? We meet a very cute robot named Ponko. Ponko is a friend. Ponko! I love Ponko. I would commit a homicide for Ponko. I would do it. Ponko's really cute. That's my friend, okay? Ponko's got great friend energy, because Ponko's just excited to be here and talk about space.
We get a lot of really goofy, like, robot animations that, like, really, they get to, like, go cut loose a little bit, because they can have this robot sway side to side, or spin its arms when it's angry, and bring its head really close to the screen, that kind of thing. It's fun.
Ponko reminds me of the maid from the Jetsons. You know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Just like a old stuff. I mean, yeah, Ponko's like has like an oval head with like a screen in the center, basically, that makes all their facial expressions, right?
Definitely like a retro futurist style, which I do appreciate. Ponko's our friend. She tells us about the gift shop and how you can swap its locations. Yeah. She shows us a photo that contains Clay Terran, Solomon Starbuck, the captain of the commanding the what's his title? The guy? What's his fucking title? What's Yuri?
Director?
The captain? The director.
Director. Yeah.
Yeah, Yuri Cosmos. Yuri Cosmos looks like a Yamato fucking character. He has one eye covered.
Dragon trainer.
He is a dragon trainer. He travels around on an electric, like a Segway, like a Segway.
Segway. Yep.
Fucking Segway.
It's so funny.
That's how you know he's a murderer.
He thinks he's the most important person in the building. He constantly talks about how like he's paving the way to the future, even though he's literally he's not even walking. He's just on a Segway.
That's just how men are.
True. There are other attractive women in this photo.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them's not named, but one of them will be named in this case. And we close the photo because Athena goes, I don't want to talk about it. And I go, okay, you're probably related to that unnamed character. And then we can talk about that later, Athena. We're solving court case. Mm-hmm. We talk to Ponko, we get more evidence, and then we leave the building, but not before Bobby Fulbright. We have to go back to Bobby. Because we have to find...
you're talking about the bullets, right? Because basically, there's 2 calibers of bullets in this room, implying that there are 2 different shooters. One was Candace Arm firing a bullet. The other one was the mysterious third person.
Third. We talked to Bobby, and he says, yeah, there's actually a witness who saw the thing go down, but in a really dark room. So we can't really... She doesn't know the face, but she knows she saw the person. And we go outside, and it is a person. Or a...
What? Why'd you say it like that?
What's
or
going
a Blackwell.
on here?
Listen, you know how I did that bit where I'm like, oh yeah, she's a baddie for real, for real? I'm like, I don't know, do I really want to resort to my old ways? And I do admit she is a baddie for real, but like, am I strong enough to pick up the mantle?
She remembers. Remembers me. She reminds me too much of that lady from the Professor Layton game. I would be shocked if they were not like meant to resemble. Well, they're probably not meant to resemble each other.
Oh,
but, like, yeah, where she was
cat...
just like
yeah.
not. It was not doing it for me. Like it's the exact same thing.
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
Camilla.
have you considered that this is doing it for me?
You are free to have that happen.
So here's my thing about Aura Black Hole. One, she's above the age of 30 and therefore an adult. Thank God.
That helps.
So we all love that. Two, her shtick is that she is a robotics engineer. She does not care about space. She just wants to build a big robot. How sick is that?
Yeah, she's like, I'm just getting as much funding as I can out of here to just build
Positive
my
character
robots.
traits are just pouring in.
Trait number 3, she has a robotic sidekick named Clonko, who is Ponko 2, but Clonko. And they have like a slapstick comedy bit where like she slaps Clonko on the head, opening up his head track, or she roots around in there to like fucking mess around with him, and then she uses him as like an armrest. It's a very like,
she's got no respect for him.
No respect for men, which I appreciate. She reminds me of the female secret agent from Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Yeah.
You mean
Yeah.
Tasha?
Yeah, because she's with a short guy. Because here's my thing: tall
she's
lady,
with a short guy.
She's with a short guy.
Listen, they are couple goals. Objectively, we can all agree.
We can all agree that Rocky and Bullwinkle are couple
Rocky
goals.
and Bullwinkle are also couple goals.
I meant the secret agents, but yes, also Rocky and Bullwinkle. Anyway, yes, I agree. So we talked to her and she goes, "Are you a lawyer?" And we go, "Yeah." And she goes, "Fuck you for breathing."
Yeah, she doesn't like lawyers.
Fair.
Interestingly enough,
that is fair. We were like, "Can you tell us anything about the case?" And she goes, "No, I don't like you or the legal system. Do you know my little brother?" And he goes, "Yeah." And she goes, "Fuck him too." And I go, "Okay, lady."
That is my favorite thing about her. She's just like, yeah, I hate that guy.
And like,
you ever have a sibling? It'd be like that.
Oh boy,
she's
do
just
it.
like, I hope he rots in jail. I don't care.
I don't give a fuck. I like robots. She literally goes on to say like, "Yeah, if I saw a killer who was trying to kill me, I'd just kill them back." And I was just like, damn.
Skill issue.
Straight up skill issue. I kind of respect that we have a character who's openly saying like, "Yeah, I'll kill. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, fuck you." I hope I hope she does end up killing somebody. Oh.
Directly to jail.
I don't know. I feel like it's just been a while since we had a character who is so openly antagonistic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's been a while since we had a character that's just straight up said like, "I'll kill." Because like every time we have a prosecutor who's antagonistic to us, they become our friend and we like hug.
Oh,
at
Shelly
the
the
end.
Killer. How we missed the
Shelly the Killer like was different because Shelly the Killer had a sense of nobility to him.
I
whereas
did like him.
Aura Black Hole straight up says, I'd shoot him in the back. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'll lie, cheat, and steal to get what I want. And I respect that, by hook or by crook.
big CEO energy.
Okay. So we talked to her, and she goes, "I'm the witness. I saw it go down. I don't like you." And those are the 3 things we need to know about Aura Blackwell. And then we go to court. Well, I feel like that's the investigation phase. We just investigate like a lot of like bullets, locations. We had to like kind of establish what really went down in the situation in order to free our client, our man, Solomon Starbuck.
But we still barely do that. This case gets so convoluted. I'm glad the puzzles were easy because I was like, I'm lost.
The problem is that a lot of the testimony we receive is just straight up lies and like is not what happened because a lot of the
perjury in my Ace Attorney.
But like it'd be different if like they even knew what was like. Not even the witnesses who are lying to us knew what's going on, right? Like Solomon has no idea what the fuck is going on, and then the witness that we talked to for both parts of this case is director Yuri Cosmos, who doesn't know what the fuck happened. He's lying constantly because he thinks he's the great man theory, and like he's just a dipshit. He's
Yeah.
We fucking talked to him in court. Simon Blackwell is like, I will say whatever I need to get this man to shut the fuck up and talk about his case. And Yuri Cosmos is like, a fan, I see. And like literally Athena goes, no, no. Yuri lies for a lot of his testimony. He lies a little too much. Oh my god. A lot of this case could have been solved if he just told the fucking truth from the get-go.
Right. I mean, basically,
no, he's
he
being
does
blackmailed by the real killer.
He does this elaborate like scheme, right, in which he has rotated the gift shop and platform 1, to basically set it up so that, hey, Solomon and Taryn go into the gift shop, and instead the bombing goes off on the the actual platform 1.
Mm-hmm.
And he did this for like he felt like that this was going to happen, right, because of the bombing threat and everything, and that they already had the SWAT teams there and everything, right? So like they got this threat, this bomb threat, so he sets everything up to orchestrate all this, but yet then he does not actually know what happened then inside the gift shop, right?
Yes. So like
it's like he constructed this bizarre, elaborate scheme not to kill somebody, but just to protect a rocket.
So like,
basically.
Here's my thing. Like, here's the background plot, right? Is that these 2 astronauts are supposed to go into space, and we're supposed to receive asteroid samples from the first launch, the Hat 1 incident. Here's my secret fucking plot theory, is that I think that we didn't even get the asteroid samples. I think there's nothing in that container. And I think that both Yuri Cosmos and whoever the hidden person is knows about this. And all of this was done to like cover that up. That's my tinfoil hat theory.
You have to remember this this ship that went up to go collect asteroid samples went up 7 years ago.
Ooh.
And then yes, we got the asteroid samples back, but yet
There's
nobody
evidence.
has opened that container.
There's evidence in there.
There's fucking evidence in that container, and I need to crack that bitch open. I put on another tinfoil hat. Here's my new theory: the lighter with the blood on it that was Athena Sykes, that was in the container.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think the killer wanted to get it out of there because it was contained evidence, and that's why he was seen with the lighter. But yes, the container. Here's my question, right? They are seen coming back from the Space Museum with the container.
Right.
Does that imply that the container was in the Space Museum? And if so, why was it in there?
Good question.
Yeah, good point. I guess we'll find out next point. So here's like the actual things that occur. 1, there's a bomb threat made to the Galaxy Center, and in response, the director gets a heightened security detail, which is why we have Detective Candace Arm and Bobby Fulbright already on the scene.
Mm-hmm.
The astronauts,
the best.
Clay Taryn and Solomon Starbuck, go into the Space Museum, even though they were supposed to go into Launchpad 1. These locations were switched.
And Yuri Cosmos seems to be the one who drugged Starbuck so that he did not freak out about this whole thing happening, right?
Yes.
Rather than informing him of his plan to try to keep him out of the bombing, he instead just drugs him and says, yeah, go into the gift shop with Taryn, with Clay.
Does Clay know about the swap? I guess not, but we can't find out because
we can't ask Clay now.
Yeah.
Terrible. Awful.
But he did, lug Starbuck back after the fact. So at the very least, he,
I
he
think
did his best to help his friend out.
I suspect he knows because he is coming back with that container, right? That presumably has this evidence that's definitely not the lighter from 7 years ago in a case I don't know about.
Exactly.
But they say early on, like, I forget who says it, one of the robots or the director says that the asteroid samples are kept in a safe in the, like, museum area.
Oh, yeah.
So Clay would have had to go and get those out of the safe while in the museum area.
Yes.
And carry that down. So, like, that's he definitely knows and was killed for trying to help, I don't know, prove something.
He was probably trying to bring the truth to light, and or like accidentally just brought the asteroid samples to like save them because he did believe they're asteroid samples, but then the killer knows what's actually inside of them. I think he was not a willing participant. That is my theory, because he's Apollo's best friend, and Apollo's heart would be broken if he knew that his friend was up to no good.
You're right. You're absolutely right. That is correct.
I don't think he did anything bad. I think he was trying to do the good thing and bring this evidence to, like, possibly, I don't know, fix a wrongful conviction 7 years in the past. Where somebody's parents definitely didn't get murdered.
I honestly think that, like, he didn't know the evidence was in there. He was just trying to save asteroid samples because there was a bombing that occurred, and he goes, I know, I'll save the most expensive thing in this entire location, the asteroid samples.
We shall see who is correct.
We shall see who is correct.
I will say it is kind of funny that we have already leapt to the later chunk of this second court segment.
I mean,
and we've entirely skipped all the bullshit with the doors.
Oh, yeah,
because it's insufferable.
So, like, this is why I was going through a recap of the case, is because we gotta bring up the insufferable bullshit with the doors. So, like, yes. They enter, so while... I gotta recall correctly.
It's almost baffling, right? To try to keep straight who's going through what door and who was where when. Like, Yuri was in the room before the murder happened, and then Candace shot at Yuri, and it hit, one of the bullets hit his badge. It almost kills him.
Yes.
Yeah, but then she fires another shot later, question mark? And also there's a third bullet from a 10 caliber gun, which is not Candace's gun. And then Yuri goes out the other door, but then the murder happens just after he goes through that door, and he loops back around to meet up with Candace and act like he just arrived on the scene.
It's really
so
obnoxious.
Much. I mean, listen, segways don't actually move all that fast. And they suck. I have a personal
that'd be the contradiction.
vendetta.
Your segue is too slow. That couldn't have happened, Yuri.
All right, so I want to see if I can get this correct. Yuri comes in from the south, and the killer sees him, shoots a 10 millimeter.
Just so small.
But,
like, even Phoenix is like, that's really small for a bullet.
That's a really small bullet, but whatever.
Still a bullet.
The killer then leaves and goes to the Space Museum, while the bodies of Solomon Starbuck and Clay Taryn are on the ground. Then Yuri goes in, sees that there's no third party. There's Solomon and Clay on the ground, and he says, I will switch the Space Museum with the launch pad so that it's in its proper location. Once he begins the switch, Candace Arm comes up, sees him, fires 2 shots, which is insane. Why the fuck is she shooting at the director?
She said she doesn't give a fuck. She'll kill anyone.
She didn't say anything. She's dead. Candace Arm.
It's just a girl thing.
Okay, fair enough. My bad. I didn't know where it
Woman moment.
Woman moment. So she fires at Yuri Cosmos. Yuri Cosmos goes, I'm scared, and leaves and goes to the other entrance that only he is allowed to go to, and then comes in through the south and meets back up with Candace and goes, oh, what's happening here? And Candace goes, I just fired at somebody. Also, there's a killer on the loose. And he goes, whoa, that's crazy. So we have to prove that Clay and Solomon came in from the Space Museum, and this was done by looking at the security footage and notice that there's a big number 2 on the floor, which represents Space Museum.
Yeah, we can't bring that up until the very end, even if you noticed it early.
This is why it's good that the puzzles were easy after doing all that bullshit. I noticed that the knob on the door was turned in one photo versus the other, and I was just like,
100%.
when can I mention this? Please.
Here's something that we don't talk about is the fact that the wall in the lounge has a hologram projector. I feel like it would have been super easy to be like, yeah, it's a hologram. We saw a hologram. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. I feel like they introduced a hologram and that could easily be a solution to a lot of the vision-based problems we had, but they don't talk about that. Also, why was it pitch dark? It occurred at 3 p.m. Dude, light
covered all the windows.
But she fucking Aura Blackwell saw the shit happen through the light. So through the window. Why was it pitch dark in there? I don't know. That actually did fuck me up. I don't think it would have been pitch dark, but whatever.
There's still things to figure out apparently.
The smoke.
But there was no smoke.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because Launchpad 1 was only in the proper position after the murder. So it actually doesn't have a goddamn thing to do with the case. Even though Apolly and Phoenix has to talk about Launchpad 1 constantly. Because the biggest thing about this case is that it's a murder room with 3 different exits, but only certain people have permission to go through certain exits.
Jeez.
Also,
I'm killing Yuri Cosmos.
The design, yeah, this is why I just want to kill everyone involved in all of, I early on, I remember, Tiago being, very, angry at the witnesses for being obnoxious, and now I'm back in that seat. I'm like, get these guys out of here.
The problem with Yuri Cosmos is that he says at the beginning, I did a lot of this stuff to cover up for Solomon Starbuck, my employee. Because as a great man, I must worry about my men. And I go, okay, that is a noble trait. And then later it's revealed that he did all this under I think it's safe to assume that he's doing it under command of someone else. Because we straight up asked him, hey, why'd you do all this bullshit? And he goes, I can't say.
Oh.
I don't know. Well, yeah.
Yeah, he starts off by being like, I switched it so that my men would be on the rocket when it blew up and they wouldn't die.
Yeah.
And they would have
to be at least part of it, right?
Yeah.
It still is part of the explanation, but yeah, there seems to still be something else going on as well.
Because Solomon even confronts him in court and goes, why'd you do that? Am I ever gonna go in space? And then fucking Yuri Cosmos goes, I promise you one day, Solomon, you'll get to space. You're my biggest boy and I love you.
Yeah. So
here's something, the only redeeming thing about Yuri Cosmos is that the entire time you're cross-examining him, he has some of the funniest animations I love. Because he pulls out this fucking commander phone from his Segway and talks as if his battleship has been sunk. He treats this like it is a galactic warfare battle. Like he is Battlestar Galactica.
Stop! Get out of Battlestar Galactica. You are in court, old man. Oh my goodness.
I just like it because I think it's funny that we have a witness who's thinks that he will die on the stand. He thinks that he will actually die as a result. So a lot of his breakdown animations are him spinning in the Segway out of control and stuff like that. And then his final animation is he loses control of the Segway and it goes all around the court, but we only have the shot of the witness stand. And at the very end, he busts through the door in the back, leaving a fucking cartoon hole.
That was pretty
shape of his Segway body.
And the judge,
fucking Looney Tunes.
The judge says something interesting. What the judge says is, "Bailiff, get on your steed and go fetch him." What is the steed? Your Honor, I demand that you tell me.
Rose, the court steed is something that we have readily available in any court case.
Okay, but is it another Segway? Is it a horse, as it should be?
I think it's really funny to imagine that during every court case we've been through so far, there's a horse in the background ready.
The bailiff's
Just off
horse.
screen. Just always off, just out of frame.
Oh my
Just
god.
out of frame. That
The horse can be used as a witness, but was not. The horse witnessed the fire extinguisher incident.
The
Chose
horse
not to speak.
Just can't speak English.
The horse was there during the bombing. The horse
Yeah,
was
we didn't have Luke around at the time, so we couldn't have him talk to the horse.
Oh my
The
god.
horse was-
Luke, I need you. I miss you.
the horse was there when we got Dahlia Hawthorne's ghost convicted. He saw a ghost.
I mean, how long do horses, like, they live for a while, but...
They live for a while, and like with the way that this country treats its court system, by the fact that if you're a prosecutor, you have $1 billion.
Average horse lifespan is 25 to 30 years.
Nice.
I
It's
think-
the same horse.
It's the same horse.
I think
Yeah, somebody's like, hey, Athena's like, hey, Phoenix, what's that? He's like, oh, that's just the court horse.
The court horse.
the bailiff rides it into battle.
That
He's there
horse.
just in case someone tries to make a break for it.
When Shelly the Killer, oh my god, the horse couldn't catch Trucy's dad when he made a book for it. You remember that?
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
He
The
was a
horse got
powerful
tricked by
magician.
magic trick.
The horse was tricked by magic!
He didn't know what happened.
That's part of the reason why Meekins didn't want to be a bailiff anymore.
He's afraid of the horse.
He was afraid of the
horses,
horse.
horses are scary and fucked
Or-
up.
I honestly, my favorite thing about the uncle that I have in Brazil is that he said, if I don't see my horse in heaven, I'm turning around.
That's so real of him. Horse people.
Oh, man.
Horse people, man.
Oh,
All right.
man.
So, we prove that Solomon Starbuck is not the killer because the lighter that, first of all, Bobby Fulbright comes out of nowhere to save the fucking case for us. Because he goes, I found a bloody lighter in the Space Museum trash. And that is enough for us to acquit our client, because our client could not have been in the Space Museum and dropped the lighter, because the lighter was seen after the murder by Aura Blackwell.
Right.
And if it was found in the Space Museum, that means our client did not have time to go to the Space Museum. He was unconscious on the ground, as seen by Candace Arm and Yuri Cosmos. Which means a third party definitely went into the Space Museum with a bloody lighter that isn't our client, and therefore it wasn't fucking us, baby. And then we high-five Athena, and the court said, the judge says, not guilty, and we get the confetti. And then one little sourpuss had to say something. one little slime in Blackquill.
He's so
Mhm.
moody, this case, too. Like, everyone can tell he's all upset about something.
Mhm.
Even the
Yeah.
judge
Right.
can tell. And then at one point, Bobby's like, oh, who is it? Oh, no, it's not Bobby. It's the old man is like, oh, tomorrow is the something. And of course, if you've been playing Ace Attorney game, you know that tomorrow is the end of the statute of limitations on what happened 7 years ago.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was a stupid rule in this society.
Yeah.
I thought it was 15 years.
They probably changed it because it's the dark age of the law.
Oh,
Or
fuck
it's
me,
like-
you're right.
they
Or-
they
or
halved it
it's-
just for the hell of it.
Yeah, or it's like the end of like Simon's
Something
extension for his appeal or
is on
something.
a timer that something's on a timer that ends tomorrow.
Yeah,
My
tomorrow
guess is
Simon has to.
it's Simon's prohibition or like his appeal window or something like that.
I think Simon has a slow cooker on that's been on for the last 7 years, and tomorrow's
He's
the
making
day.
vegetable stock.
He's like a vegetable stock.
Tomorrow, after 7 years, his vegetable stock will be finished.
Oh, you know
it's
what?
it's
I
the
want in.
slowest route. Oh, a man in the clink told him that he had to get out. So yes, Simon says,
Simon said,
halt! Whose fingerprints are on the lighter? And Bobby says, I don't know, I didn't check. I just saw that it wasn't Solomon.
Thank you, Bobby.
And then Simon says, give me that fucking piece of paper, you nitwit. And, and then he looks at it and says, the fingerprints belong to Athena Sykes, our plucky apprentice. She's not an apprentice,
Ding,
she's
ding,
a
ding,
full
ding, ding,
lawyer.
ding.
And then the
Holding
entire...
up at the Family Feud board. Yes! Kill!
Summer Blackwell just like, kill! Oh. It is at this point that the court erupts in fury because we just spent this entire time proving that only the killer could have been the one to leave that lighter in there. And if so, why the fuck are Athena Sykes' fingerprints on it?
Yeah.
And as of course we talked about our tinfoil hat theory, I believe that this was a piece of evidence from the court case 7 years ago that made it back. And now it makes total sense that there are no asteroid samples in the container. It is the piece of evidence. We are... Rose, we're geniuses. We know Ace Attorney.
Yep.
There's nothing else to say. Your Honor, clearly we're fucking right. Acquit our friend Athena. She's not guilty. You know what? This makes perfect sense though, because it has been a while that a member of our leaguer team has been accused of murder. I think that we've been having it too good for too long.
Yeah, it was only a matter of time.
It's time. Yeah.
Was Trucy accused of murder ever?
No.
All right, there's still time for that too, then. We just have to have every single member of our fucking Ace Attorney group be accused of murder at some point. Apollo has not been accused of murder, but the way that he's going on his Venom path, I feel like he will be accused of murder eventually. Because he leaves the team and goes, I'm going to find the killer my way. And I think he's going to do it through illegal court. I think he's going to underground court. You know underground court?
Yeah. It's in the sewers.
It's in the sewers. There's a rat who's the judge, you know?
No, yeah.
The rat's judge.
So the two Ninja
Honorable
Turtles are there
Court
too.
Judge Rathu.
Rathu. Yes, Apollo leaves to study his own Venom court, and he's like, I'm gonna go find the killer. And our job is to acquit a client, which I do, but now Athena is accused. And that's where the case leaves off.
Yeah.
Dude, the cosmic turnabout ends in a way that, like, leads directly into the next case. The last time something like this happened, it was in, I want to say, never. I don't recall this ever happening.
I think
you mean
I can
like
fix
almost
this.
it being like a 2-part case in a way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like it is. Not where it was like broken up into 2 separate turnabout things.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think the closest thing was in game 3 at this point, where you play as young Mia and then immediately have case 5 after that. But those are just, it's more just like giving you a little bit of backstory so you understand the past of these characters. Because then case 5 is its own full case. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In 3. So
Damn, some of those early case, like game 1 cases, should have taken a hint.
What do you mean?
Those long ass cases.
What
do you
about...
mean case 5 in game 1?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You're just mad about case 5 in game 1.
I like my Cowboy Marshall, but that case was long as fuck.
It was, I think, the longest case so far, and we haven't had one like it since. It's crazy. It's kind of wild that we haven't had like a 3-day case in a long time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
3 days used to be the thing.
Yeah, and now we solve it in like 2 because we're Ace Attorneys.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a trend overall for Ace Attorney. I've noticed is that they use 3-day cases less and less often the longer the series goes on, and instead stick to like 2-day cases that are just slightly beefier, right?
Yeah, this is a chunky case.
So they just kind of stick with that for a lot, even with some later games, you know. So we'll see how it shakes out. I believe there's still a 3-day case at some point in the future, but I don't. Not here for game 5. We're just
3 days.
We're jumping right back into it with the next case. So
I fully believe that some of the DLC cases will be 3 days because they paid money for it. That's right.
Find out that
my big brain is so huge.
Oh yeah,
so
there's a DLC case.
Yeah, there's DLC,
that
Rose.
happens somewhere
in the middle.
In the middle, and I cannot possibly imagine where that could be.
It has to
at
be
this
before.
moment.
It has to be before Clayterin is killed.
You think?
don't know. We need more data before we can make this guess.
All right,
Wheels spun slowly.
It'll be
there.
so funny when we get there. But,
all right. So here's why I think it has to be before Clay Tarrant is killed, right? Because as of right now, we have not completed the game, but it's the only moment in which that we have access to both Athena, Apollo, and Phoenix Wright. As soon as Clay Tarrant is killed, Apollo becomes unavailable. So
maybe
that's
we'll
why
be doing whatever case Apollo is doing while he's gallivanting off around here.
Oh, punished Venom Apollo.
Yeah, maybe we'll be punished
My
Venom
poor
Apollo.
boy.
He's gonna be doing street cases where like he's doing a court case, but it's in the middle of a basketball court. And then he has to bawl on Your Honor, I'm fucking balling. And then he does it down.
Balling.
No, that's I mean, the only other outcome is that it happens after this case, but I feel like, isn't the next case supposed to be the end of the original game? Case 5?
Yes, the next case is the end of the game.
So, like...
The DLC case takes place somewhere in the middle.
Exactly. So there's no fucking way that it happened pre-Clay Tarrant death.
It'll be, like I said, there's an explanation for it. It'll be very funny when we get there.
Is it a fire extinguisher?
Is it a dream?
It's not a fire extinguisher, and it's not a dream.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shit.
But yeah, there will be some context that will surface here. I really can't say anything without spoiling it. So we'll get there when we get
Understandable.
I like how low-key we have already solved the next case just because we're so smart.
Well, there's still other parts to it. You don't know anything about that case from 7 years ago.
Yeah, we don't know if the hot lady in the picture is related to Athena Sykes or not.
I know.
You know?
Yeah, it's about Athena's dead
Okay.
parents for sure.
I honestly, my initial guess is that the killer is like Athena's twin sister or something, because I don't know. That's why they have the same fingerprints. But now that
Oh, identical twins.
identical twins, but they weren't identical in the photo, so.
Well, then they can't have the same fingerprint. Do identical twins have the same fingerprint?
They,
I don't know.
That's something for us to look up later.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Wait, this
would
wasn't
think
covered
not,
on
but
Forensic
who
Files,
knows?
notable garbage TV show.
I think where genius is in the fact that lighter came out of that capsule,
No,
which was sent up
Identical
7
twins
years
do
ago.
not have identical fingerprints.
Awesome.
We're gonna
didn't
find out that the killer was not Slyman Blackwell, and we're gonna get him acquitted too, because he's our.
Slyman Blackwell.
Listen, he's Slime, all right. I love him.
He has funny nicknames for everyone else. We should have funny nicknames for him. He's Slyman.
Yeah, it's either that or he's the White Samurai. So
Yeah, I'm gonna make a Photoshop of Simon as the slime from Dragon Quest. Then
Okay.
Nice,
I think you
nice.
can and should
Put
do
that-
that.
put that on the
That's beautiful that we
on the
live in the
social media
future.
accounts.
Dragon Quest Court. Yeah, we figured out the next case. We're gonna knock it out of the park. We're so smart and cool and funny.
We're gonna find out if which of our predictions is correct. If Tiago's prediction that Clay was simply trying to save the meteorite samples and unwittingly, the asteroid samples and unwittingly carried away evidence, or my theory that he was intentionally trying to bring lost evidence to light. We shall find out.
Wasn't there? I feel like at the beginning of this game, I made a comment that I was like, "If X happens, I'll do a kickflip," and I don't remember what that was.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I apologize. I don't remember off the top of my head either. We'll have to
Listeners,
check the
remind
tape.
us in the
Well, I was going to say
comments.
the listeners will tell you
The listeners,
what you owe us a kickflip for.
yeah, listeners, if I need to give you guys a kickflip, let me know. I don't recall why.
I promised to film it, I think, but I don't remember what it was
I don't-
about.
I don't think it was. I don't think it was anything that came true because I feel like that
I'm
would
going to have
have
to go listen to the
popped in my
previous
mind then
podcast
as a
again.
result.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
We'll see. All right.
Okay. Let's call it here then. Thank you for listening this week, folks. I would like to take a brief moment and read some wonderful reviews from listeners like you who left reviews on our iTunes or Apple Podcasts page. So, 5-star review from Theater Kid Maddie. No objections from me. I started listening to this podcast on a whim after searching to see if there were any on the Ace Attorney series, and I don't regret that decision in the slightest. It's my go-to for when I'm driving to work, and the gang never fails to bring a smile to my face. You can tell they are all really close friends because they have loads of chemistry bouncing off of each other with ease. If you're a fan of those games like I am, this is a must listen. Keep up the fine work, Ben, Dessy, Tiago, and Rose. Heart emoji.
Thank
you.
Us.
Thank
so much,
you.
Peter Kid Maddie. That's really sweet of you. Thank you. And then we have a second one that also cropped up recently from Charlie Cat 98, also 5 stars. Can't wait for DGS. For Rose and Tiago, DGS is the Japanese title of Great Ace Attorney. It was Dai Gyakuten Saiban in Japan. Okay. So that is what DGS is. If you ever see that crop up online, I have been I'll get my words right. I've been on a big Ace Attorney kick playing DGS, but I was missing the original characters, so I decided to find some content to fill the void and stumbled upon this podcast a few weeks ago. I've now listened through everything up until Dual Destinies. Wow, holy crap. Which I haven't played yet, so I'm holding off until I can. The banter is fun and funny, and I can tell that y'all really enjoy these games, but are not afraid to be critical as well. I'm planning to play along with Dual Destinies as I listen. Hopefully I can get around to it soon, because I love this podcast. I'm looking forward to hearing your takes on DGS eventually. Keep up the great work. Smiley face.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charlie Cat.
Someone playing along.
Yes, and that's kind of what I always hoped people would do, right? I hope that this can be a companion piece as you play through the games, and hopefully bring something new to the conversation as well. So yes, thank you for those wonderful reviews. If you would like to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts as well, we may just read it out on the air like we did now. You can follow the show on our website, updatedautopsy.report, which has links to all of our social media accounts on co-host, Twitter, Blue Sky, all those places. And you can watch all of our Let's Plays of Dessy and I and our good friend Iro playing through the game at youtube.com/@Yotseben.
Iro mentioned.
Mm-hmm. And then you can follow me on pretty much all social media under the username @Yotseben. Just look, and I'll probably be there. Dessy, where can people find you?
Dessy on Blue Sky, and maybe somewhere else at some point.
And Tiago?
You can find me at Tiago S. Dutra on Twitter. I'm not calling it the other name. You'll also find in that my bio a link tree containing all my other social media in case you want to follow me in different places.
Yep.
And Rose?
You can find me at Rose Nonsense on Tumblr and sometimes co-host, where you can please buy my art. The holidays are coming up. Get your friends some art. Everybody loves that shit.
Yeah.
True.
Yourself a commission from Rose.
Yeah, please. I have a dog to feed.
Get a picture of a horse in court.
Yeah, a court horse actually might happen anyways, but if you want your own customized court
Get your
horse.
own court horse.
Your own court horse, yeah. All right, well, thank you so much for listening. Like I said again, just rate and review us on Apple Podcasts if you'd like. And next time, we will be playing Dual Destinies Case 5 Turnabout for Tomorrow. See you next time. Bye.
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 We're gonna free our man Slyman.
Oh yeah.
Free my man, dude. When he gets out of prison, he like removes his hair and he actually doesn't have that dumbass ponytail.
He stays the same so hard that he keeps walking around with the broken manacles on because it's edgy.
He goes back to prison.
Yeah.
That's where
he
I
starts
belong.
talking normal.